Today, we're gonna be teaching y'all how to do switch power slides. Oh my God. Looked uphill, that helped a lot. Spot low. Yeah, looking uphill helps a ton. Highly recommend. So, a couple things to know. Skateboarding is really hard. It only gets harder when learning switch slides. But there are some things that you can do to make it so you can learn it faster, believe it or not. Number one, wear pads and protective equipment. Crash pants work really well because you probably will be falling. Number two, a really steep hill. The steeper the hill, the more your wheels are gonna wanna break traction when you carve. Number three, practice carving switch and riding switch as often as possible. You got to get comfortable with putting weight on your front foot riding switch and articulating between your toes and your heels and pitching your weight forward when pushing around switch. They are going to take some force and some oomph, so get prepared for that. Number four, Pal Peralta dragon wheels. If you're trying to get the form down and figure out how to position your body and hold yourself up, the dragons are very good for breaking traction super easily without too much effort. So if you put these on a double kick and some reverse kingpin trucks and go on a really mellow hill, you'll be able to figure out how you're gonna wanna put your weight on your board to make the slides happen. And then once you graduate from dragons, you can put on some wheels that are a little bit more grippy and take it to a steeper slope. Another thing of note when learning switch slides and switch toes is when starting off, you want to go really slow and you want to figure out what foot position you need to have on your board to make the thing slide. So I would recommend dedicating one full session just to figure out where your feet are supposed to go on the board. And really you just want to carve hard, get as low as possible, and really just huck it, but really just focus on having your feet planted on the board. Another thing that will really help you get the slides down is when you're powering up through your feet to do the slide, try to pretend like you're trying to whip your board in half down the middle by pulling your feet away from each other and digging into the concave. That's going to activate all four corners of your feet and really keep you rooted to the board so your feet don't lift up. So really just pull apart like you're trying to tear the board in half when you're doing your slides. Okay, so something that really helped me learn how to do switch slides was yoga. And how yoga helped me was mirroring images of certain stretches. For example, Warrior 2, and then you switch directions and then do it the other way. What this kind of does is makes you think about how your hips bend and your knees bend and how to keep weight over your ankles going both ways. So I highly recommend trying some yoga and just getting used to how your body feels when doing opposing stances that you're not used to. This goes a long way. Now, when doing your regular slides, both heel side and toe side, we start the slide by dropping our hips, charging up through our feet, and then popping and pushing out with our back foot and powering down through our front foot. That goes for heel side and toe side. Also, swinging your shoulders. Same thing goes for switch slides, except there's one major difference. when you're riding switch, your hips don't really know how to bend down on those legs the same. So that's where the biggest hurdle comes in. You kind of have to figure out how to get down low, keep my eyes facing downhill, and then going into the slide and really try to lean forward on my front leg while leaning onto my front heel in the carve and popping up and rotating my shoulders. Obviously, you're gonna want a lot of power to kick out your back foot. And then also leaning on your front foot and carving will kind of automatically make you have to put weight through your front foot, so you're stomped down and you won't be coming up like that. Definitely get into a deep, sharp carve. The sharper the carve, the more likely it is to happen. And when you kick out a heel side slide regular, you're not knowingly putting about 75% of your kick out into that back foot. Well, that's because you're powerful with that back leg. You don't really think about it. So with your switch back foot, imagine that you're putting out 100% of your power when you're kicking out the back foot. And that'll probably equate to about 60% of the power that you need to do the slide. And from there, you can kind of just hone in on adding more power to that while also putting weight down through your front foot. All right, so a couple tricks you're gonna wanna know how to do before you try these switch slides are regular 180s. You wanna be able to get into the switch position. So stand-up 180 slides are kind of important here. Carving is essentially the training part. Start with a switch here. You kind of wanna power up through your front foot, upper butt, and just kind of like sink into that front foot while pushing out the back. Get low. Yeah, kind of tough, but get used to it. Just really dig into that front heel. Jut your front hip out when you're doing it. So if you do that, you'll kind of get extra power down to that front foot, which will keep your front foot kind of locked onto the board. And when I'm kicking out the slide with the back foot, kind of just like angling my leg to like almost have like penguin stance. So it's like that, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like this, like that, and then kick out that way. Practice, practice, practice. One more thing. What really helps with this slide is to like pick a spot on the road with your eyes that you're gonna slide and then commit to it. So pick a spot. Once you hit it, start carving really hard and doing the slide by kicking out the back of the wheels and the board, and just try to keep your eyes up if you can. Try to keep your chest forward. And one way that will make that work better is to kind of like pre-carve so that your chest is automatically going to be aimed downhill, and picking that spot on the road will definitely help achieve that. Now, switch toes. Oh boy, switch toes. Switch toes gave me a hard time for a long time. One thing that I just couldn't understand was, how do you hitch your weight forward, rotate your shoulders, switch, kick out, and do all that jazz? Well, needless to say, you don't. A switch toe side is very much different from a regular toe side. You've probably seen videos of people doing switch toes. Rarely do they look the same as regular toes. So one thing that really helps on switch toes is riding the steepest hill you can find and just doing the sharpest carves you can toe side. This takes a lot of time because switch toe side carves are pretty hard. So one thing that might help is kind of bringing your front foot back a little so you can carve a little harder, and then putting your back foot back a little bit further so you can get more effort into the kick. Now, one thing that really limits the ability to do switch toes is the lack of getting low. Getting low is probably the most important thing with switch toe sides, and something that it's really hard to make your body do even if you think about doing it. So I would highly recommend trying to drop your front glute as low as you can when getting ready to pop the slide. And then when popping it, you're gonna wanna kind of lean forward on your toes and kick out the back foot at the same time and try to look downhill. Most of the time that doesn't really happen, but over time of practicing, you probably will be able to rotate your body like a normal switch slide. But most switch toe sides, generally, you'll see people with their heels raised and not even looking down the hill. They're just like hanging on for dear life. That's because it's such an awkward position to get your body into naturally. And over time, once you get that lowering your hips down and bending your knees and figuring out that explosive pop, you should be able to rearrange your feet so they're in the normal switch stance of your front foot being angled forward and your back foot being angled forward. And then getting that knee out in front and popping it out like that. Good luck. Now, switch toes. Terrifying. Yeah, the feet just kind of want to like really get locked in. We do a couple of toe sides just to get your body to know what you're trying to do by leaning on that front foot. Really want to engage the front heel. And then now let's do some switch ones, shall we? Oh God. Still warming up. All right, we're gonna try it again. And this time I'm really gonna try to keep my chest pointed up towards the hill, like there's an arrow coming out of my chest. And I'm also gonna try to keep my hips kind of out behind me so that I can push into the board going downhill. So chest is gonna be up, facing uphill, butt is gonna be poking out, and feet and knees are gonna be kind of like right underneath / behind my butt with the board furthest away from me. Raw run. Also another thing, it's pretty damn hard to do switch toe sides with the camera in your hand. So find a tripod, or in my case, a little bush that I stuck a stick into. All right, let's get to it. Function over form to begin with, but please, for skating's sake, make sure your form's set up enough so you don't high side to oblivion. One technique that works well with regular toe sides and switch toes is to keep your leading hand up like you're waving and just try to keep it locked in place and carve around that. And that keeps your chest kind of open downhill and helps the slide work. Makes you focus more on your legs and your hip movements, less on your shoulders, and hopefully keeps you from bending over like this, pulling a Mike Fitter. Sorry, Mike. Basic Superman shit. Ain't no time to check if this skater's alive. I gotta bike up this hill. If a road biker who's like hustling it saw someone like literally die in the street, they just bike straight past. yeah, looking uphill helps a ton. Highly recommend. Okay. Yeah, I think that's another braking in point for me. Looking up the hill, trying to keep my upper torso pointed uphill, and bending my knees and jumping my butt down so I can really push it out behind me. Really helps. So I think the looking uphill part is just to help with form. Now I need to bring that form to the slide while looking downhill. So I need to memorize the body positioning and how that feels, and then kind of like figure out how to turn my head without changing that feeling. There's still a ways to go, but I think consistency is coming along after today's session, so we're gonna keep trying to incorporate it into our skating and hopefully get some big fat blasters in time for my next slide jam. Bring them to the people in person. Hell yeah. Lately, learning these tricks, I've been riding Pantheon Sacrifice 2025 with cast rogues set to 175 and Pal Peralta Primos symmetrically set up with 93A, 90A Venom tall bushings. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and all that stuff. Help someone else learn. Switch toes, switch heels if this helped you. Peace.